go. Good evening, everyone. I'll call the Financial Services meeting to order. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. First, we need the approval of tonight's agenda. Moved by Councillor Boyle, seconded by Councillor Parker. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have emergency resolutions, and just a reminder that majority consent is required. Any emergency resolutions this evening? Okay, seeing none, move along. Errors and omissions or corrections to the minutes of April 15th, 2024. Any errors and omission corrections to the minutes of April 15th, 2024? And finally, any errors or omissions and corrections to the minutes of April 15th, 2024? Seeing none, we'll consider those minutes approved. No correspondence this evening. Moving on to number 7, reports not requiring a motion. First, we have the communication report, month of April. Questions or comments on the communication report? Okay, seeing none. Recreation report for the month of April. Good. Seeing none, move along. Warden's report. Questions or comments? Do you want to say something? Go ahead. Warden Parker.
You're going so fast, I'm not keeping up.
Oh, sorry.
I did want to mention, and there were some councillors, I think we had about half of our council there the night that we met with the officials from the Northern Health Zone and the Aberdeen Hospital. I think it was an excellent meeting. We met at the Glasgow Square, and there was, I suppose, maybe 6 or 7 representatives from the Northern Health Zone, which is pretty good when you think of it. These are very important people. You know, they have an important role to play, and to have that many of them, you know, with us in one room that evening, I think was pretty valuable to us. And I think for those who weren't there, what they're really asking of us, I guess at this point, we've been after them for a long time, what they're really asking of us is to get the word out that things have changed, mental health-wise, crisis mental health-wise, at the Aberdeen Hospital, and they're continuing to work on and we're going to continue to meet with them every 6 months. They're going to continue to work on trying to improve services for those who are in crisis mental health. I guess none of us really know until we're there with a loved one how difficult that can be. And Kevin, I think it was, I can't remember his last name, he's done a lot of really good work. He has an emergency group that get together when they need to deal with issues. But the one big thing they've done, I think, is they expanded the hours a lot. So if you go in now at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, somebody's still going to be there, or at least available on the phone or whatever, you know, to talk to you, not tell you to come in Monday morning at 9 o'clock when we start up again. That was a big, big change. And the other big change is on the triage when you first come in. No longer do you, or you're not supposed to, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but no longer do you have to sit through the 6, 8, 10-hour wait. And that if you're in crisis mental health, and of course somebody has to determine that, then you can go a different route and they will get somebody to see you much quicker. And that's very important, of course, if you're in crisis, you know, they should be treated like a heart attack victim, you know, put right in the fast lane, and they promise us that'll happen. And whereas it used to be 9 to 5, now it's not 24/7, but it's as close as we're going to get for a while probably. The one thing we are still looking for, and maybe we'll never get, I don't know, but is beds, you know, designated for crisis mental health. And right now there isn't any, but they say if it's really bad, they will find a way to keep that person overnight. If the parents, husband, wife, whatever, say, no, I don't feel comfortable taking them home the way they are, they will find a way to keep them. But right now they're pretty well determined that they want to keep the beds in Truro, and the problem is that Truro is often full. So Pictou County has 6 designated beds in Truro, but Truro's often full. So that's just a bit of a summary of some of the progress that's been made. We have our Crisis Mental Health Working Group has a representative from each municipality in this county, and it's been heavy slogging for quite a while, but we seem to be making some gains. But anybody who reads the saltwire paper, the Chronicle Herald, on Saturdays, you'll read some very difficult stories the last few weeks. I think there's been 3 or 4, and they're continuing. And their parents who have lost their children, adult children sometimes. I think the last one was 26 years old. Very, very sad stories to read. And it's their struggle in dealing with the health system, and they couldn't get the help they needed, and eventually that person took their own life. But I think it awakens people to just what's going on in our health system, and I'm hoping that some of the advances we made here, I often say if we can save one life, we've made a difference. If we can save more than that, then we've made a bigger difference. But there's no way of telling, but we just have to hope that somewhere along the line some of the changes will help. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on that. I think it was a valuable meeting, but it's not like we're at the end of the road. We got to keep pushing for more advances. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Dewar.
Thank you. They certainly had a lot of answers that evening, and good at telling what's going on. There was just one thing I wanted to add to what the warden said, that a lot of the policemen and the Mounties are trained, and now they're taking a course on how to be able to help out a little quicker, right? So that's something I didn't know, and there's different things I didn't know. And I think that Peter fellow that you're saying was Fraser.
Kevin
Fraser.
Kevin Fraser, that's the last
Yeah.
name.
But anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dewar.
Just to add to that, Madam Chair, those RCMP as well as town police officers that are trained, I forget the initials of what they're trained in, but they work closely with some of the social help people that oftentimes know the individuals in trouble, so they go to the home many times with the RCMP and that person, so that person already has a sort of a connection, and it makes it easier when the police or RCMP come into the situation. Otherwise, people react very negatively when the RCMP or the police show up at your door, and maybe that doesn't happen, hopefully, when you have somebody there that knows the person. So thanks for reminding me of that one, Chester.
Okay. Councillor Butler, did I see your hand? Yes, go right ahead.
I have a question for the warden. Item in regards to attended via Zoom Community Economic Development Information Session. Was there anything that stands out from that particular session?
You know, when I read these over last night, I looked at that one, I shook my head and said, I don't remember what that one's about. So you got me on that one. I can't remember what it was about, but it was provincial. There's a lot more provincial things now that they're inviting you to attend on the Zoom or whatever for information, but I'll have to get you some information on that one because, like I say, when I read it through, what was that?
Okay. Any other further questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. Next, we'll have Councillor Wadden. She has the Audit Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Audit Committee met April 23rd and continued our work on the tax pending sale list. You can see from our tax sale report included in your package as of April 30th, tax sale notices went out to 100 accounts for a total of $1.3 million in unpaid taxes. Just from those 100 accounts. 9 accounts were paid in full after they got their letters for a total of $61,000 paid. And 16 accounts have set up payment plans for a total of $246,000. We have requested title searches for 75, which brings that total to $991,000. There are 3 full-time searchers involved, and if properties are migrated, the searches are quicker to do. And they're now working on the next set of 150 letters to go out, and I think that was somewhere around $300,000 associated with those letters. There has been no new hire in our finances yet, but some we have retained short-term help in the interim. At the Audit Committee are quite concerned about succession planning, especially in our finance department. We hope to see steps taken to ensure a smooth conversion as retirements for key personnel take effect. The audit committee had to go in camera to discuss the potential litigation within our municipality and the impact on the financial reporting. Respectfully submitted, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Wadden. Captured our meeting very well. Counselor Parker.
Is there a date set yet for this proposed tax sale?
No.
I want to note for the record that 75%, 75 out of 100, didn't even bother to respond to the notice. It tells me we have a problem. And there's still almost $1 million of that outstanding. So it's going to take some work to convince people that they need to pay their taxes. If they don't, and almost all of these, maybe all of these, will not, when they go to tax sale, they will not have the ability to redeem them. Because in many cases, it's been years, even decades, since they made a payment on their taxes. So I think it's 3 years. If you haven't paid within 3 years, you lose the ability to redeem. That means you either come in and settle before the date of the tax sale, or you bid it in, or you lose your property. And maybe that's what's going to have to happen for some of them to take it seriously. But I'm pleased to see that we are at least trying. I am concerned that we do not have enough staff to get this done in an effective way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Parker. Any further comments or questions for Counselor Wadden's report? Yes, go ahead, Counselor Thompson.
And I'm not sure of the proper way to direct this, but the potential litigation, is there something that can be explained to us as council? Is it something that would have to go in camera? I'm curious if we could get a little more information on that.
Go in the camera.
Yeah, it
pretty
would
easy.
have to be.
Somebody here, so you go in the camera pretty easy.
Do you want to make that a motion?
You have to
Yeah,
shut
that's fine.
people
We have a
off
seconder?
online, yeah.
Okay, seconder by Counselor Wadden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay. We'll just wait for Adam. favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Do you need a second, Adam?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I've found some information here, if you can give me a slot on this question that Dawn had on community economic development.
Sure. Yeah, I
right.
just want to wait till we're back on
Yeah,
camera.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
no. I just went back through my notes here, and it's not terribly clear, but
Okay, we're good to go. Okay, we'll move on to, I guess, the tax collection update. So as you're aware, the first interim tax bills went out in April. So that's why you see the big jump in number. Oh, sorry, I jumped. So the tax sale is what we just talked about with Councillor Watton through the audit committee. Before I jump ahead, are we okay to jump ahead? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Parker.
This is pending legal advice. At the very end of that report, what's that about?
We do title searches.
The new title says, and it says something about pending legal advice. So some of them that would be disqualified.
Yeah, some may come back with a recommendation not to proceed because when they can't title, there's issues with the title, or they may recommend a survey. There could be a number of issues that could flag there, so. Just on the title searches, they are basically complete, so I expect probably to receive those actually in the near future. They just need to be signed off by the lawyer. The searchers have completed their work, so they just need to be signed off by
That's great news.
the lawyer.
Okay.
But that's happened subsequent to April 30th, so.
So now that we have these, now that they are signed and they come back to you, what's next in the process?
So then we would determine the process and the dates for sale,
Okay,
once we have those.
and start advertising
And
that.
the advertising requirements and any other requirements that we need to make.
Okay.
Would be kind of mapped out at that point.
Will that come back to council before that happens, or would that just happen?
No, that really just happens. It's more of just a process
Okay.
type thing. The only thing that may come back to council is on some of these, whether or not we accept less than what's outstanding. That can be a directive of council to do, type thing. So if there's one that is 10,000, council may say, if we get 500 for it, that's fine. You basically set your minimum bid, type thing, so.
And
That would be the only thing that would come back. So
Okay.
Once we've go through the list, type thing, we'll look at that.
Okay, Councillor Boyles?
Is it going to be a bidding process like the other ones were, or is it going to be just people put in what they want to offer and the highest guy gets her?
Tenders?
That's where we're leaning, more by tender than by auction at this point, so.
And that is the norm, kind of, not the norm, but that isn't how most municipalities do it now.
It's the new norm.
It's the new norm.
Can you tell me this, Brian, if that's the case, and it's done by, by written tender, you turn around, you put in your bid, right, and if you get the highest one, you get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody's looking at 6 properties.
Mm-hmm.
They bid in all 6 properties. But they haven't got the money by all 6, but they're just doing it so in case their bids don't win. So can they then turn around and say, okay, I want property 1, 3, and 4, or they gotta take them all?
Yeah.
Take them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's no different than at the auction, right? If you bid it, it's yours and you gotta pay on the spot. So, the tender process will be the same. It'll be basically you pay on the spot. So,
Go ahead.
So are we gonna make the decision, or are you making the decision on the auction, or the way the?
Yeah,
sale-
it's really an administrative process, like council's not
Not in on it.
involved in the process,
Okay,
same thing.
so, yeah,
Okay. Any further comments or questions? Okay, we'll move along. So going back to what we just talked about here was the taxes receivable report. As I said, that the interim tax bills came out in April, so that's why we have the jump in amounts for the outstanding tax receivable. Any questions or comments on the taxes receivable? Big number, half of it. Yep, half of it. So, okay, moving along, we have the D-transfer tax report. As you can see for the month of April, as compared to the last couple of years, we did fairly well. Questions or comments on the D-transfer tax report? Okay, seeing none, Warden Parker, we'll circle back to you, to your warden's report through the question that Councillor Butler asked regarding the economic conference, Zoom conference. If you want to go ahead?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and this is one of many meetings that, you know, we were sort of made aware of. I see here it was NSFM that I think organized this as an information session, and this Community Economic Development Fund was formerly called Invest Nova Scotia. So there was a whole lot of renaming, including Develop Nova Scotia, that we dealt with a lot on the high-speed internet. So this was another renamed fund, but it's $40 million. Half is paid out of the fund to date, so there's about $20 million left there. And the Minister of Economic Development makes the final decisions. And I've got a bunch of notes here, but it applies to municipalities, but it can't be core funding. Can't be anything that we were going to do anyway, and it can't be one-time events like holding a conference and that type of stuff. And it has a minimum maximum funding anywhere from $50,000 minimum up to $3 million, but it can't involve infrastructure funding. So our water and sewer projects and whatnot wouldn't fit under this. And they will fund up to 100%, but having partners does improve the scoring. I think this, as I read this through, this is not to do with private business for sure. It's only to do with municipalities, but I think probably the Pictou County Partnership would be the group that would look at this and see if there's something to do with municipalities, or we would work through them. It's fairly complicated. They gave us a lot of information on the evaluation, how the evaluation was done. Right now, they said the type of projects that have been approved up to now: sector development 7, community development 3, innovation 5, food security 2, placemaking 3. Now, those are just classes and they don't mean much, you know, unless you know what an example of some of those would be, I guess. But we will be having a meeting, I think of the LOC tomorrow even. So I'll bring it up with Wade and see Wade Thibault and see if he can, he might know a lot more about it, I think. But it is quite good bundle of money, but it doesn't fit a lot of the things that we're doing. But I did ask a question at the end, because right about that time we were dealing with the farmers market, as you recall, in Glasgow here. And I asked them if that was one source that they could go looking for money, and he said it was. So that may be of interest to them, where they're looking at raising a lot of money. It appears, but I will run it by Wade and see what he has to say, but it appeared to be a source that maybe they could tap into. Maybe for that full amount, or maybe for lesser amount, but yeah, like I said, it goes up to $3 million, anywhere from 50,000 to $3 million. But it's not really new. It was there before under Invest Nova Scotia. So I don't know if it was just what it might fit in our communities. I'll see if Wade has more knowledge on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for that. Did I answer your question there, Councillor Butler? Perfect. Okay. All right, we'll move on to accounts receivable, accounts paid for April 2024. Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Wadden. Seconded by Councillor Parker. I'll open the floor up to questions. I don't see any this evening. Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we're going to move into our municipal service grants. The first one is for District 1. We have Lismore Community Hall for $2,000 for hall maintenance. We have Lismore District Recreation Committee, $2,000 for summer rec program expenses or assistance. Kensingville District Community Center, $2,000 for operating expenses. Kensingville Cemetery, $2,000 for monument restoration. Kensingville Community Action Group, $1,500 for startup funds for kickoff event. Marsa for $2,500 for install basement emergency door. Marrakemish Cemetery Company, $2,300 for maintenance. District 1 Development Society, $1,700 for newsletter expenses. Barneys River Fire Department, $750 for install AED outside of the LBR gas bar. Barneys River Station School Museum, $1,500 to replace the ramp at the museum. Sutherland's River Community Center, $960 to design center's addition, half the cost. Sutherland's River Pioneer Cemetery, $975 for maintenance. Telford Cemetery Association, $300 for maintenance. St. Andrew Cemetery, Edgerton, $1,200 for maintenance. French River Community Society, $2,500 for maintenance. And Old School Cooperative Merchants, $2,000 for market setup and maintenance. And Thorburn War Memorial, $500 for maintenance of the memorial. And Marrakemish Schoolhouse Light, and that's $40, so that's the yearly cost, for a grand total of $26,725. Okay, moved by Councillor Butler. Seconded by Councillor Dewar. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Parker.
Old School Cooperative Merchants, which school is that?
This will be the second year that they are working towards having a vibrant farmers market on Friday afternoons at the Barneys River Station Museum.
Okay. Warden Parker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just took interest in the one about installing an AED outside of the LBR gas bar. I wonder, do we have very many of these now anywhere in the district? I know the problem a lot of time in my district is that they're inside of buildings that are locked. And whether it's at the church hall or at the fire department or whatever, they're not much good to anybody. You have to get them fairly fast anyway, but if they're locked inside of buildings, by the time you find somebody with a key, it's probably too late. So I wonder, these must be in a weather-protected box or something, are they, Councillor Butler?
Yes, Mr. Warden. For the reason you just mentioned, accessibility, this restaurant, the gas bar is open from 5 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night. And so they will be, I think it will be inside the building, to tell you the truth.
Okay. So they won't be, or sorry, Madam Chair, through you, they won't be, they're accessible when the gas bar is open,
Yes.
which would be long hours, like you're saying, which is better than most of our community buildings. They're closed 95, 98% of the time.
Right.
So that's a good idea, I think, to have them, in places that are open.
And compliments to the fire department for coming up with the initiative.
Yeah, I think it's something the rest of us need to look at because most of them are locked up all day long.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? District 1 Municipal Service Grant. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have District 3. We have the Bayview Community Hall, $40 for the yearly cost of the street light. We have Caribou River Community Hall, which is $2,800 for the maintenance and hall expenses. Caribou River Upper Cemetery, $2,500 for maintenance. Central Caribou Cemetery, $5,000 for maintenance. Caribou Island Cemetery, $500 for maintenance. Waterside Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Seaboard Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. St. James Mill Dam Cemetery, $3,600 for maintenance. And Halliburton Pictou Cemetery Company for $2,000 for maintenance, for a grand total of $20,440. Who did I forget? No, Bayview didn't, no,
Oh, I thought I saw it there.
it was there, but they don't have their financials in yet.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Somebody want to move that for me? Okay, moved by Counselor Parker, seconded by Counselor Turner. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have District 7, Union Center Community Hall, $3,000 to fix the well and dig a new well. Forest Hill Cemetery, $3,000 for maintenance. Friends of Caledonia Cemetery, $1,000 for maintenance. Middle River Birch Hill Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Millbrook Cemetery, $2,600 for maintenance. Millbrook and Area Community Center, $4,294 for new stairs, exterior drain, and a sign. And the carpool lot street light, $450 for the yearly cost, which is a grand total of $16,344. Go ahead, Ken.
I would like to move that in the first descriptor. Should say fix well or.
Okay, so replace and with or. Okay, so it's been moved by Counselor Parker. We have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor Boyles. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we have District 10. We have the Thorburn and District War Vet Association, $1,500 for cenotaph maintenance. We have McPherson's Mills Community Hall, $4,000 for hall maintenance. District 13 Recreation and Planning Commission, $4,000 for facility maintenance. Union Presbyterian Church, $2,500 for new siding and paint foundation. Thorburn and District Fire Department, $3,000 for construct training structure. Thorburn Cemetery Association, $2,500 for cemetery maintenance. The Mountain Cemetery, McClellan's Mountain, $3,000 for cemetery maintenance. And McPherson's Mill Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Grand total of $22,500. Somebody want to move that for Counselor Palmer? Moved by Warden Parker, seconded by Counselor Dewar. Any questions or comments on those? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Are we going to be doing the sheep valuers all at once? Is that our plan? Yes? Later on? Okay. All right, so next we have tax write-offs. We have 5 this evening. Let me pull this up here. So reading through, there's different reasons why, but they all seem kind of similar in the same way. First, we have the amount Arlene Robinson et al., $154.40. And again, this is a property online issue. It's deactivated from the roll. Mary J. and Edward Rankin, $515.33. This one is similar. Again, there's no PID for it on property online. Alan Peter Dunn, $9.94. This land out in Little Harbor Road. Property was amalgamated in 2020. Beverly McMillan, $457.17. This is land out in West Branch, so there's no PID. So it wouldn't have an account. And then Helen Fraser in the amount of $4.88, and this is out Sherbrooke Road. This account should not exist. So we have a total of $1,141.72 for a write-off. Okay, moved by Counselor Dewar, seconded by Counselor Wadden. Questions or comments on these tax write-offs? Just seem a lot in errors. Okay, seeing no comments or questions, call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Right? Okay, next we'll move on to our grant review. So council will review council grants approved by the Grants Review Committee. So the Grants Committee met the end of April for an evening to go through our submissions. So you received the grant, I guess, what our grant committee came up with. So I'll open the floor. I guess we need a motion first to accept this, and then we'll go through, open the floor up to questioning. So moved by Councillor Parker?
No, there may be a correction here. My recollection
I think it was 7. Okay, moved by Counselor Parker. Okay, and seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. Okay, so anybody that has any questions, if you want to,
Madam Chairman, to
Yes.
clarify on 19, we moved the $10,000 for the pictogram search and rescue, and that's $10,000 each year for the next 3 years.
Okay.
It is a good organization. I must say that we had a very hard meeting. This is a very hard meeting that we sit around and we come up with this, and when we come out of it, everybody was unanimous that this is what we move forward with. Thank you.
yes, go ahead, Counselor Butler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 18. I'd spoken before on this, and I want to make my feelings known again that, you know, at least a third of the population of the county is seniors. And we have an organization, an organization here that's reaching out and helping our seniors. I think that they should have received their $10,000 that they requested, given the numbers of people that are being helped through this program.
Thank you, Counselor Butler. My understanding that my memory serves me right, that the Pictou County Seniors Outreach didn't use all their funds last year and returned them, half of them. Am I correct in saying that? There was $5,000 returned?
Correct.
Yeah.
They requested an extension on 5,000 that they hadn't spent. That's why.
I guess that was our reasoning. If they're requesting the 5, give them 5 and that will be their 10. That was our thought, I guess, that evening. If that's some clarity. I don't, it's hard to remember sometimes. Go ahead, Counselor Boyles.
Yeah, again, I turn around and I can't support the you know, it'll go through anyway, it don't matter what I do, but I'm just saying that time and time again, we keep giving money to other towns and places and saying no to our own. And I think that is wrong. So I won't support it, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Boyles. Any further questions or comments? Yes, Counselor Dewar.
I just want to make a comment on the Pictou County Ground Search and Rescue. That night of the meeting, as we came down here to the meeting and we looked at the amount they were looking for, there must have been 300 people walking the roads looking for that lady that was lost. And those people were out everywhere for days looking and looking and looking. And it really hit home that night that we have to do something to help those people. And I think it's wonderful that, just like the Deputy Warden said, that how important they are and they're appreciated by this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Dewar. Absolutely. There seems to be more and more people missing all the time. Social media for sure. So it's important to go ahead, Warden Parker.
I just want to point out that there's some in there, and Councillor Elliott's not here tonight, but from the River John area in particular, and they're going to be disappointed. But we set the deadline hard as February 28th for everybody. And over the past few years, some have had to do without because they didn't get them in by February 28th. And there's, you know, more than one, let's say, and I can't remember exactly how many, that came in late. And I don't think they were all from River John, but the bulk of them were. And so if we have a rule, we have to stick by that rule for everybody. And it was unfortunate that I think the one for the community worker came in 2 months late. You know, a lot of them come in the day after, 2 days after, and well, if you have a deadline, you have a deadline. You have to live by it, but to come in 2 months late, really, excuses don't matter at that point. They don't matter at March 1st, really. But so I think there's going to be some disappointed people in Councillor Elliott's area. I just wanted to explain to people that I think it says in here that they relate. You know, and as long as we're going to have a deadline date, we have to stick by it, and it was hard for the committee on certain ones, that being one of them, to, but, you know, I think that one actually came in after our meeting.
That's what I was gonna say, yep.
Quite a bit after the meeting, I think, so to be fair to everybody, we have to stick to those rules. I just wanted to explain that to councillors.
Yep. Just 1 second, Councillor Boyles, let everybody else have their. Yep. Yeah, go, do you want to speak? Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead with Peter first.
Well, I just want to see if anybody else wants to speak, because he's already spoken. Is there anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
No, I just had a quick question. If they're not in by the 28th, why are they even on the list? You know, if they're not in time, why would, it's these ones that, you know, you said, remember, John, they were missed it because they weren't in time?
If I might, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it's to show the people that that's why theirs didn't move ahead. If we don't put them on the list, it looks like didn't apply. This shows they did apply, but the reason they were turned down was because they were late.
Acknowledge them, yes. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to explain number 52, Pictou County Trails Association. We usually support them each year with 20,000 or whatever, but 0 this year. And that's because down in number 60, that we put $35,000 or $70,000 out for the bridge on this side of the Gut Bridge. So that's why they were cut out this year. Thank you.
Okay. I'll call for final questions or comments. Right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. 1 nay. Motion carried. Next, we have motions of reconsideration. Do we have any? No. Sorry. Any motions of reconsideration? I believe we have any reconsideration? No. Okay, and so with that, I call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. You running her? Yes, hold on. I got it here. I got it here. Oh, who knew we had two all this time?
They look after me, yeah. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Also, I'd like to just put to that too, I think that we're also on the land that our soldiers and our men that put on uniforms to fight wars and to go over in special duty areas and everything to make this a free country that we can be proud of. I need a motion for approval of agenda. Been moved and seconded. Question? All in favor say aye. Aye. Against me, nay. Emergency resolution, as you know, you have to, have the consent to turn around and get it. Anybody get anything under emergency resolutions? Majority consent required. None? Okay. Errors or omissions, corrections to minutes of April 15th, 2024. Errors or omissions, corrections to minutes of April 15th, 2024. Go ahead, Wayne.
There. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. On page 4, Deputy Warden Murray asked if there's a time frame for having the Scotsman Tower back up. That should read pumping station. On page 4, on the first paragraph, it says tower back up and running. That should be pumping station. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Anything else? The errors, omissions, corrections to minutes of April 15, 2024. So, okay, I guess we just move on. The reports not requiring a motion. Public Works and Development. Anyone, any Question on Public Works and Development? Go ahead, Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can't find just where it was under here, but somewhere it has to do with our coastal erosion. As we all know, the province has sort of reneged on the act and said that it's going to be a responsibility of the municipalities or of the individuals. I'm just wondering, under Public Works here at the municipality, is this going to come with our land use planning, or, you know, are we planning on making a decision here as a council whether we're going to proceed with that at all? I don't think the province is telling us that we have to. They're telling us that we can if we want to. And I know that there has been a person hired at NSFM to assist us if we want to go ahead with that. So where is that going is what I'm wondering. Where's the, we sometime have, at some time in the future have to make a decision if we're going to do it. And is that through the land use planning, or is that separate?
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Chair. That is a decision that council is going to have to make, how we address it. It is something that can be included in the land use planning. We're still awaiting the draft documents from the land use planners. They expect to have that to us by the end of the month or the first week into June. They got delayed a little bit. So it's something that can work its way into a land use plan, or we can develop our own coastal protection policy. In addition, the position that the warden has mentioned is being hired. There's also a second position as well. Now there are going to be two. I learned today at a local government working group meeting that there are going to be two positions, one for the coordinator, one a more technical role to assist. I'm also pleased to say that formally, I guess, state that our community climate capacity program has been approved through Clean Foundation. So we have access to a person through the Clean Foundation for the next 3 years that we can use to help develop these kinds of policies, whether they find their way into our land use planning or into separate documents altogether. So I think it is a decision council is going to have to make, but we can put language in there with the land use plan. So if it's something that councilors, when you receive the draft land use documents, that you don't think is addressed adequately enough, we could work it into there, or we can work it into a new document.
Okay, and if I might, Mr. Chair, there was some negative comments made at our land use planning meetings about us perhaps venturing into this, that it may not be wise move. I think we have to look at that very closely. It would have been better for sure for the province to be having an overall, but they've said they're not doing that. So now I think whether it's included in our land use planning or not, we have to be careful what we're doing, I guess. And my final question then is, did we hear anything back from any of the municipalities? Because I did send out a letter to the other municipalities that border on the northern shore here. Have you heard anything from any of those four municipalities, I think it is?
Thanks for the question. We've heard from Cumberland County. They're the only municipal unit that's contacted us.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Go ahead, Danny.
Yes, on number 5, Blue Acre sidewalk design. So we've determined that there's not going to be any requirement for roundabouts in that area. When shall the documents be ready for tender?
We're targeting June with the approval of our capital budget. So the documents will be ready for tender in June.
Go ahead, Horton.
I know that we have confirmation by phone call, I believe, between our CAO and the Department of Public Works that there's no planned roundabouts in that area. But we also have another report that goes to another committee that shows that there is. I guess I would request that we get that in writing rather than just by a phone call. We have it in writing, and if there are, let's say roundabouts do come in 4 years' time, and they rip up the sidewalk we put in, are they responsible to replace them? I think that's important that we have that in writing before we move along, otherwise it's our cost.
Mr. Chair, I can speak to that. So I've received an email because I asked explicitly about it to the area manager, Keith McDonald, engineer for Nova Scotia Department of Public Works, which reads as follows. So again, sorry, the context was asking whether or not roundabouts are going to be constructed, if there's any plan for them. His email back to me read, we're involved with a traffic impact study being conducted along East River Road, which will include the 104 ramp intersections as well as McClellandsbrook Road and Route 348 intersections. There are not any current plans for any intersection upgrades or construction of roundabouts in this area. At present, I would not see anything that would conflict with your current sidewalk project in the area. I will, however, provide you an update and additional information on the study when I'm able to.
And can we get that, can we get that confirmation that if they do put a roundabout in there 3-4 years down the road, that they will pay to replace the sidewalks? Or I think it's important we have that in writing, not be told that, oh, well, that happened, too bad, you'll have to, I think it's important to be in writing.
Thank you. We can request that in writing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the development officer? Seeing none, we'll move on to emergency services. Any questions or? Oh, did I miss one? Who? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had, yeah. Development officer, I'm sorry. Any questions to the development officer? Hearing none, we'll move on, I guess, to the emergency services. Questions, emergency service? That's you, is it, Evan? I have a question for you, nobody else has then. It was brought up to me last night that I guess there's a problem with the water from the Lonshy Fire Department, getting it from the jail or something. Is there a meeting or something going to be?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for the question. We are aware of that issue. They were denied access during a fire to that hydrant. We've sought some legal advice and we received that back. We're also working on setting up a meeting with the jail and the affected fire departments. It sounds like this may have just been a sort of a miscommunication. I'm not entirely sure of the situation, but hopefully it will be resolved here within the next week or two when we have that meeting. The fire marshal's office is also involved and will be attending the meeting alongside us.
Also, on the out in Thompson Road out there in Walkerville, off the Walkerville Road, there's a bridge when you're going in it. I was approached last night that the firemen are concerned that their pumper truck might be too heavy and that bridge might give out. Is there any way we can get that checked? I called DOT and put a report in there, but is there anything we can do about it to make sure that it's safe for them?
That might be a better question for Logan, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And where exactly is this bridge again?
It's in the Thompson Road off the Walkerville Road there.
Right. So, yes, yeah. If it's a provincial road, then it's something that would have to be handled by the province. In a similar situation, in a bit of a dispute between the town of Westville and the Provincial Department of Public Works, they were sort of fighting over a bridge that the town considered to be in deteriorating condition, and Public Works had indicated that it was not something they were concerned with, and the town of Westville in that case had indicated that if the situation continued to deteriorate, in their opinion, that they would stop running emergency vehicles and people would be notified of that over that bridge. So, I mean, I'm not sure how emergency services can handle that, but that is an avenue that Westville has taken in one of these deteriorating bridge condition situations. So I would suggest continuing to push with the Department of Public Works, and I'd be happy to attend that meeting if it's any help.
Thank you. Do we have anything else under emergency services? If not, we'll move on to fire inspector. Nothing under fire inspector, no. Okay. Building inspection. Good news tonight. Bylaw. No. Okay, I guess we'll move right along to business items, or items requiring action. Street light approvals for District 12, both of them are District 12. I don't think I'll be done separately, but District 12 intersection at Elgin Road and Cameron Road. And do you want to do them both together, or, okay, and the District 12, 5651 Stellarton-Trafalgar Road, Riverton.
I'll move them.
Second it.
So moved and seconded that for the street lights on the two places we mentioned. All those in favor? Aye. Yes, any? Okay, great. Okay. I guess B, water extension on Stellarton-Trafalgar Road, Riverton, Councillor Dorr.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. This has been brought to my attention a couple of months ago, and they're having problems from the homes in Riverton up. There's no, the water's bad. Different properties there, the extreme arsenic counts. So anyway, knowing absolutely nothing like I did about it, I said, well, what happens if you boil it? Well, they say if you boil the water with arsenic in it, it gets 3 times as bad. So I didn't know that, but anyway, I asked them to get a hold of down here, Logan, and Logan just at the same time mentioned about getting hold of me. So anyway, I'd like to see something go on the capital budget, that there's a chance that we can get on the list to put some water up Riverton, a little farther than these houses, because up around the turn in Riverton is the Riverton Trailer Court. There's a lot of properties there, and they always have problem with water there. So I just wanted to get the door open to see if we can do something for the people in Riverton. And like I said, we'll try to get it on into the budget. Thank you.
Go ahead, Emperor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Don't we normally ask for an estimate before we go to the budget process?
Well, I was just trying to get the door open.
Yeah.
Logan will be looking after that stuff.
Yep.
Thank you. Yep. So, as Councillor Dewar mentioned, this issue had come to me as well via telephone at around the same time it was coming to Councillor Dewar's attention. This extension to the mobile home park would equate to about 1.5 kilometers of water main extension. If we look at the figures from our Salem project, which is currently underway, which was to the tune of $1.8 million for about 3.7 kilometers, a high-level estimate for this project would be about $750,000, and would likely service approximately 31 properties along with 31 units of the mobile home park. So, and with population adjustments for that 62 people, you're looking at approximately 200 people served. So the negatives versus, say, the Salem project would be that it's a mostly residential area. Some people wouldn't consider that a negative. That's a positive in some areas. but it's got a higher density population as well. So there are benefits to it as well. It would be from the Stellarton source, which is where our current Riverton system comes from, versus the New Glasgow source from which Salem and the proposed McLeansbrook-Colburn water extensions are going to stem. So again, that's Stellarton for this possible extension versus New Glasgow source. So those are the high-level figures. We'd probably end up in the range of $12,000 or so per home, again, as a high-level estimate.
Okay. No other questions on that? Oh, go ahead, Andy.
Just on that, is there enough water? Like, will Stellarton, because I know in the summertime, they ration water in the summertime. So I'm just wondering, will the water source have adequate supply?
I'm not sure where we are with our consumption values right now. If the town of Stellarton were to impose a water conservation orders, we would likewise be required to follow those orders. So we would have to do an evaluation of this project versus our consumption values in Riverton from our Stellarton source to determine whether or not that's viable. Brian, I'm not sure if you have any more information on that, but I don't think we're super close right now. And with the possibility of the different facilities closing or changing their usages, there might be an opportunity there as well.
Yeah, I don't think we actually have an agreement in place with Stellarton that has an upper limit. So as Logan said, if they imposed or were forced to impose some water conservation measures, then we would have to do the same. Part of this analysis too, the value estimate there of $750,000 would trigger a UARB approval. So we actually have to go through a detailed analysis of this project to prove that it would not have a negative impact on the utility. That being said, if we have proof that the water is bad in Salem, we proved a year one positivity, but as you go on beyond that, you have to factor in the annual depreciation charge, so there actually would have been a negative impact on there, but the board approved it on the basis of a health and safety issue type thing. So so that's a consideration as well that we're going to have to do. We'll have to do that analysis for the board.
In the town, I'm curious, in the town of Stellarton, they've been required to go to meters, so are we metered up through Riverton, and would we be metered on an extension?
Yeah, so any new extensions that we would put in, we would meter. It's actually a requirement of our order that our customers be metered. So that would be a requirement that we meet.
Okay, here no more. We, motion of reconsideration.
I'm not even sure if I know the definition of a motion of reconsideration, but anyway, I'll bring it up here. So Councillor Dewar had asked, I think at our last meeting or maybe 2 meetings ago, about those people with home phones, that when the power goes out, within a half an hour, you got no phone. And maybe that's the only phone you have for many people, or it might be because cell phones don't work there, which would be a big reason. But, so I brought that question forward at NSFM down in Bedeck, and some of the other councillors here were there that day. And so I asked it of, I forget, it was one of Minister Lower's assistants, I think maybe, or Minister Lower himself, I can't really remember. But there was a lady there that seemed to know something about it, and I can't, maybe Councillor Thompson or Councillor Warden or our Deputy Warden remember, but she didn't bring it up right then, but there was something about a booster type of thing that you could get in the home to put in your own home that would allow that to last. Bell did away with it, I think they said in 2021. They won't do it anymore, but you can put a booster in your own home. It almost sounds like the Wi-Fi boosters or something, but it would allow the home phone to last much longer. Now, they didn't say forever, or 14 or 19 stupid days, but, I think it's something we can follow up on and see if, for those people who are suddenly left unconnected, if we had a way, I know, Councilor Dewar, you would suggest that you take some of your money out of your municipal service grant to put these batteries in or whatever, but their suggestion was in the individual homes of having a way that you could put something in there. I need to find out more information. I don't know what it was, but it did sound like it was possible. If anybody else can add any more information than what I got from that, but I didn't find the details out yet, but I'll certainly try to.
I appreciate you bringing it up. And it is really, really important in certain areas because they absolutely have nothing. And last winter when we had the storm, if some of those older people, and they don't have to be old to be in trouble, and I can't imagine people that are a company that's as big as Bell or that would do away with something as small as putting some batteries in. Maybe the batteries are the size of that table there. I have no idea in the world, but the man I was talking to said the batteries were there and they're always on chargers. Now, anyway, I thought if you just had to buy, say, 10 batteries that cost $300 or $400 a piece to put in the one in Hopewell, well, that would look after everybody in District 12 and some of the ones in District 11 and the area. And it would only work for the people that were still had a Bell landline and would be helping people, would be helping our residents, right? So that's why I brought it up, and that's why I was trying to find out something, and I certainly appreciate you bringing it up there, and maybe we can work from there with something. Thank you.
We'll see if we can get more information.
Just for nobody else, anything else, my daughter, when she built her new home, she has a metal roof. No reception at all. I mean, it's terrible. If you can't get it all, has to walk out. She got one of these things, the boosters. It's great. It sits on top of the fridge. It goes out. It's just like a cable. It goes outside with an aerial. And I think it's $250 they cost new through Amazon, but they're great. Community announcements. Anybody community announcements? Seeing none? Oh, got one? Okay, go ahead.
Chance to put this in anyway. So we had a very successful tree planting here a few weeks ago. I forget the exact date now, a couple of weeks ago. And we had some good help from was it Air Engineering? Yeah, they were excellent to help us because it's hard to find enough people sometimes that can do it and are willing to do it and whatnot. But I want to say a special thanks to Adam, our communications officer. He not only came, he brought 4 young people to help us, his children. So, I was fortunate enough to have Jack. I think he's 10 years old. Yeah, he was with me, so I didn't have to bend at all. All I did was made the holes. Jack did all the work. So no, I think it was certainly successful. It was a really good day. There wasn't even any bugs, which is really a welcome thing. And so we planted down in Marigamish, I think about 3,000 trees, and did the other 2,000 find a home? I know Dave knows more about that.
We planted a little over 3,000, and the homeowner took another 75 to plant himself. And Fairview Shores condos took 2 trays worth. And I understand they were planted last Saturday. And there were a couple other people, individuals that took a significant number, 100 or so went to Northumberland Regional High School. To my knowledge, they're all planted. I also want
I forgot I have a couple of community announcements, took a little while to kick in. So on the 25th of this month, 25th of May is a Saturday, you know, there will be sort of a flea market type of thing at the Durham Community Hall. It's all free. You don't pay anything for the table, you don't pay anything to get in. It's just to bring people to the hall, I think. And then on June the 8th, there'll be a similar type of sale, not just flea market stuff, but other stuff, and a lot of stuff related to horses, I'm told. The horse equipment's very much into horses, Chester. Anyway, that's on June the 8th, and it's at the Salem, Sarah, the Salem Area Recreation Field. So they just want to get more people in the community involved, you know, and by having sales, that's a good way to get people to come and see what you're doing. So that's on June the 8th, and the other one is May the 25th. I think I'm not sure if they're both, yeah, they are both Saturdays, yeah. Thank you.
No one else, but that's it. She's all over. Thank you.